Kushina, Fugaku, Jiraiya, and Darui, having returned to the Leaf Village, inform everyone about everything they agreed upon with the other Kage. And the first order of business now is for a team to be assembled to head to the Hidden Rain Village. With the information they have, there might be a connection between that isolated corner of the world and a large rogue organization known as the Akatsuki, which they are currently investigating and making countermeasures for. A team of shinobi needs to be assembled to go there and check things out. Right away, Jiraiya volunteers. He's one of the strongest people the village has to offer, is a good spy, and, perhaps most importantly for him, has a personal connection to that place. He needs to see if Nagato is really alive, as Tsunade seemed to imply. And if he is alive, Jiraiya needs to see him and find out if he's truly become a rogue shinobi. The second one to volunteer is Fugaku, a skilled and powerful shinobi, but Jiraiya objects, saying that if the Rain Village really is the Akatsuki's base of operations, there might be 7 other rogue ninja there who are on par with Orochimaru. If that is the case, then this mission will be incredibly dangerous. Konoha has already lost a lot of good men. They can't afford to lose more. If Fugaku died, one of the brightest minds of Konoha would be lost. There's too much at risk. That's why Jiraiya would prefer to go alone. However, Fugaku argues that that's exactly why he should go. If the risk is high, it would make sense to send several high-level shinobi to assist Jiraiya. They could cover each other's backs and reduce the risk of death. Not to mention the fact that Fugaku could use genjutsu for interrogation if they need it. Everyone thinks for a few moments before deciding that it would be best for Fugaku to go along with Jiraiya. Kakashi, Guy, and Itachi all want to go as well, but both Fugaku and Jiraiya shut that down. They are all still young and promising shinobi. Konoha absolutely cannot risk losing them. Instead, Jiraiya has a better idea. He assigns the 3 of them to train Kushina on some of the basic elemental jutsu and taijutsu techniques. Everyone is surprised and Kushina prepares to whack Jiraiya on the head, but he explains further.
Listen, we all know how strong you are, there is no need to prove that. Your chains are incredible, most likely the strongest jutsu at Konoha's disposal at the moment. However, while that is impressive and you certainly don't lack speed or physical strength, your hand-to-hand combat skills are nothing to be proud of, and you lack variety in your arsenal. You were an active jonin before marrying Minato, but you haven't trained for a while now. With your new position as Hokage, you need to level up a bit, wouldn't you agree?
The Sannin states his case, and after a moment of thinking, Kushina agrees. Jiraiya thanks her for understanding and promises to personally train her when he gets back from his mission. But for now, he entrusts Kakashi, Jiraiya, and Guy to start things off. Fugaku also promises to train Itachi to master his newly unlocked Mangekyo Sharingan once he returns. With all that being said, Jiraiya, Fugaku, and Darui head out of the Hidden Leaf Village to investigate the rain. A couple of days later, in the tallest tower of the Hidden Rain Village, a select group of individuals gather for a meeting. Nagato, the leader of his branch of the Akatsuki, looks over everyone in the room. Konan, Kakuzu, and Deidara. Nagato's situation is rather unfortunate. Madara took with him more than half of the organization. Kisame, Hidan, Yagura, and Zetsu are all pawns in his hand. Even Sasori was taken by them, according to Deidara at least. The artist explained that when he was flying to meet up with Nagato after Konoha Crush, a masked man suddenly appeared behind him and grabbed Sasori's puppet body. He tried to talk to Deidara, but the artist, thinking he was under attack, jumped off of the bird and detonated it, creating a large explosion. When it dissipated, the masked man and Sasori were nowhere to be found. Deidara was acting out of instinct more than anything else. He thought he'd kill them at first, but after meeting up with Nagato, he was told that he was likely attacked by Madara, and that there was no possible way an explosion could have killed him. The masked man likely teleported away before the smoke could settle, giving off the impression that he'd been destroyed. In any case, this meant that Madara now had his hands on Sasori as well. He would likely recruit him into his own version of the Akatsuki. Nagato's group is outnumbered. That's partially why Nagato called this meeting. And now, here they are. Nagato, Konan, Deidara, and Kakuzu. Nagato explains some of the Akatsuki's history to Kakuzu and Deidara. He figures he needs to be rather open with them to keep their loyalty, so he tells them about how Madara and he himself created the organization, and how their views differ. With that being said, the Uzumaki tells everyone in his group to treat the other Akatsuki as enemies and moves on to the next order of business. Their goals have not changed. Gather large amounts of money to gain influence, and capture the tailed beasts to achieve the Akatsuki's ultimate goal for world domination and peace. To accomplish that, new teams will be formed. Deidara will partner up with Kakuzu, and Nagato himself will partner up with Konan. The two teams will do their own separate tasks. Kakuzu and Deidara will gather funds for the Akatsuki by taking up missions for smaller villages. They will also search for information on the jinchūriki on the side. Nagato and Konan will primarily search for and capture jinchūriki from the shadows. Nagato also makes sure to give Kakuzu and Deidara a run-on-site order concerning Madara Uchiha. Nagato is the only one in their group capable of handling him. If anyone else encounters the masked man, they have to flee immediately. Before the meeting can go any further, Nagato's eyes widen. Konan notices Nagato's shift in attitude right away.
What's wrong, Nagato?
Someone has stepped foot inside my reign. 3 people, in fact. From the feel of their chakra, they're very powerful. Really? How would you know that?
The never-ending reign of Omegakure is actually a jutsu that allows Nagato to sense anyone who steps foot inside of it. And it's active all the time. He keeps watch over the village this way.
Quite an interesting sensory jutsu. Who are the intruders?
That's what we're about to find out. Konan, I shall stop the rain. When I do, fan out and track down the trespassers. The rest of you stay here for now. Your style of fighting is not very well suited to the Rain Village terrain. Meanwhile, on the outskirts of the village, Jiraiya, Fugaku, and Darui travel around town, carefully conducting questionings of locals. Through this, they find out that Hanzo of the Salamander is no longer the leader of Omegakure, and the Rain Village is not divided anymore either. Something strange and drastic must have occurred. That's when an old granny mentions someone called Lord Pain. This instantly gets the travelers' attention. Who is this Pain figure? They conduct some more questioning and even capture 2 Rain Village genin to extract information from. After Fugaku puts one of them into a genjutsu, he begins talking, explaining everything that he knows about the Rain Village. About this Pain person. Apparently, he conquered the hidden Rain Village and killed Hanzo of the Salamander all on his own. This shocks the group. Hanzo was a legendary warrior who even rivaled the 5 Kage in terms of his combat ability. One might even say he surpassed them. Jiraiya's personal experience with him puts things more into perspective as well. To kill a shinobi as powerful as Hanzo. Just who is this Pain to accomplish such a feat? The group begins to feel like this might be beyond the scope of anything they could have imagined. At the same time, Konan reports back to the group of Akatsuki.
I have located the intruders. One seems to be from the hidden Cloud Village. Another one is Wicked Eye Fugaku from the Leaf. And lastly, one of the legendary Sanin, Jiraiya. They seem to be heading to the northern side of the village.
Jiraiya,
Why are the Cloud and the Leaf here together? This seems quite unusual.
We'll figure it out at a later date. The northern side of Omegakure is less inhabited than the other parts of town. Kakuzu, you and the Paths of Pain shall confront them there. We will drive them out of the village and into the open. Deidara, You patrol the north, and when I give the signal, drop a C3 bomb on the enemy. Conan, stay back and watch them during the battle. If any of them try to escape, your task is to chase them down and direct them toward the outside of the village. Is everything clear? The 3 Akatsuki members nod in unison. Very well. Let's move out. The Konoha and Cloud Ninja continue to explore the vast labyrinths of the Rain Village and run into a wide corridor. Just as they start running down this hallway, they see a dim light in the distance. In an instant, the small light turns into a giant laser beam and encompasses the entire hallway. The beam vaporizes every inanimate object in the hallway, burning its thick walls, floor, and ceiling, making the place even darker than it already was. The Asura Path has arrived and shot a massive beam, hoping to catch the group by surprise. But, as the beam dissipates, the path sees a giant flame avatar covering the group.
Thanks, that was a close one. Seems we have company.
Save the gratitude for after we get out of this alive. The 3 shinobi get ready for battle. The Asura Path lets out a sigh. Another Susanoo to fight. How annoying. Thankfully, Fugaku drops the avatar pretty quickly to conserve stamina. Asura raises a hand and sends out several missiles at the group. Go! I'll cover you! Darui shouts as he unleashes a laser circus jutsu. At the same time, Jiraiya and Fugaku charge forth. They run behind the lasers, which collide with the missiles, making them explode harmlessly in the air, and freeing up the way for the 2 Konoha shinobi to make a dash for Asura. In response to this, the path quickly throws off its Akatsuki cloak and grows 2 extra arms and faces. However, in the time it takes for the path to do this, the 2 leaf ninjas are already on top of him. Jiraiya forms a Rasengan in his hand while Fugaku summons a sword from the marking on his glove. Asura is forced to jump back to avoid getting hit. It morphs 2 of its hands into cannons and fires off 2 massive laser beams. Fugaku activates his ribcage Susanoo once again to shield the duo. And right after the beams dissipate, Jiraiya jumps out at the Asura Path with a massive Rasengan in his hand. Asura morphs his 4 other hands into cannons and fires off 6 lasers at once, which clash with the Rasengan. The hallway is torn apart by the force of the clash and bursts open, revealing a wider room above the fighters. Seeing that they now have a lot more space to move around in, Fugaku takes the opportunity by leaping into the air and firing a giant fireball jutsu at the Asura Path while it's still trying to hold off Jiraiya. But, to everyone's surprise, a new figure suddenly appears behind the Asura Path and jumps at the flame jutsu, extending its hands at it and absorbing the fire. 2 of them? Fugaku's eyes widen. Just then, the giant Rasengan and Asura's lasers reach a boiling point, and the 2 jutsu explode on each other, blowing everyone back. Fugaku, Jiraiya, and Darui regroup in the bigger room, and so do the Asura and Preta paths. Jiraiya wipes a strand of hair out of his field of vision and glares at the 2 Akatsuki.
I must say I'm a little disappointed. I knew there was a possibility of other Akatsuki members being here, but I was sort of hoping only the leader would show up. I didn't want anyone else butting in. Then again, you do always seem to travel in pairs, don't you?
He taunts a bit, hoping for a response. However, before he can get one, the Sani notices something that makes his blood run cold.
Hey, Fugaku, am I in a genjutsu?
Fugaku looks over to his comrade. No, I don't see any disruptions in your chakra. What's the matter?
Then why? Why do both of these guys possess the Rinnegan?
What? Fugaku quickly turns to look closer at the faces of the Akatsuki duo. And sure enough, there it is. 2 pairs of Rinnegan eyes in both of the Pain's eye sockets. What in the world is going on?
Fire style searing migraine!
Suddenly, a voice comes from behind the 3 allied shinobi. All 3 of them turn to look who's behind them, only to see an enormous wall of fire heading toward them.
I'll handle this. You guys keep an eye on the other 2.
Jiraiya says as he weaves a few hand signs, shooting out a giant flame jutsu of his own. The two attacks clash with equal power, cancelling each other out. As expected, the Asura and Preta paths rush in to attack as soon as Jiraiya is preoccupied.
Hope you can keep up, Cloud Boy,
Fugaku says as he prepares to engage them.
I'll do my best,
Darui responds as he takes a sword off of his back. The two Jonin charge the paths and clash with them in a tag team battle. Asura grows several knives and saws from his hands. With 6 arms, that makes for quite a dangerous killing machine, forcing the Jonin to go on the defense. They dart around the Asura path, doing their best to get attacks in, but to no avail. They cannot breach Asura's defenses with regular attacks. Meanwhile, Jiraiya gazes upon the person who threw the fire jutsu. A tall man in a mask, with a strange creature made up of seemingly some sort of black goo standing next to him.
The weirdos just keep coming. Tell me, how many of you are there?
Without responding, Kakuzu weaves another hand sign.
Fire style severing wave!
Another black creature emerges from his back and shoots out a compressed stream of water at the Sannin, who jumps to avoid being cut by the pressure. Just as he does, Kakuzu jumps after him and the two engage in some mid-air taijutsu. Fugaku and Darui keep trying their best to injure Asura, but to no avail. Soon enough, the Uchiha realizes he'll need to use the Susanoo again if he wants to make any progress in this fight. He scoffs at having to use such a taxing jutsu over and over again, but it's really the only option. However, before he can activate it, a large cloud of smoke appears on the battlefield. From it emerges a 3-headed hound, which immediately charges at Fugaku and Darui.
The hell? Where do all these things keep coming from? At this rate, we'll be overwhelmed in no time.
It appears so. Seems there's a number of enemies here. Too many for the 3 of us to handle. The two Jonin jump away from the hound and land near Jiraiya, who's currently engaging in jutsu clashes with Kakuzu.
Jiraiya, I suggest a tactical retreat. There are too many enemies here for us to handle. We'll be worn down soon. As much as I hate to say it, you're right. Let's head for the tunnels.
The two Jonin nod and the team starts running toward the nearest exit from the wide room. Asura fires off a few missiles for them to dodge along the way, but the group is able to make it to the narrow tunnel unscathed. The 3-headed dog is too big to fit inside, but the 2 pain bodies and Kakuzu follow after them.
What do we do now?
We retreat. Our mission here is done. We confirm that the Akatsuki is operating from here. Or, at the very least, it has a strong presence here. We can return at a later date, with better preparation and more forces.
I'd like to stick around to find out more about Nagato's involvement in all this. However, I do agree. Even if I enter Sage Mode, there is no telling how many more enemies we'll encounter here. The Akatsuki is made up of around 10 S-Class Shinobi. So far, we've seen 3, and a possible 4th one who might have summoned the Hound. If any more of these guys show up, we probably won't be able to win without taking heavy losses ourselves. And that's in the unlikely scenario that we actually do win.
Now that we have that settled, how do we actually escape?
We have to get to the water on the outskirts of the village. I can take us to a barrier space from there.
Easier said than done. The layout of this place is so convoluted that it makes everything difficult to navigate.
Both of you, look ahead!
Darui shouts as the 2-leaf ninja do as he says. They see a split in the corridor before them.
Left or right?
Darui asks. Just then, a figure appears on the right tunnel, most likely another Akatsuki member.
Yup, definitely left,
Jiraiya declares and the group takes a turn. However, Fugaku's feeling uneasy about this decision.
The way this is playing out, it almost seems like they're trying to guide us somewhere.
A trap?
Could be. Well, it doesn't matter too much.
The moment we reach an open space, I'll summon a giant toad and have him get us out of the city. When we reach the nearest water source, I'll summon another toad to get us into a barrier.
The group continues to run for a while. And sure enough, they soon reach a wide open area. In fact, it's just what they need. An opening to the lake surrounding the city. The trio jumps out of the corridor and lands next to the water.
Alright, seems we do have some luck on our side. Prepare yourselves. I'm going to... Almighty push.
A voice comes from behind the group. Before anyone can react, a giant wave of force crashes into their backs and sends them flying for miles. The attack is devastatingly strong enough to break several bones in their bodies. Jiraiya grunts as his body slams into the water. Darui and Fugaku crash right next to him. They're all disorientated and dazed.
What in the world was that? No clue. Just get us out of here, now!
Far above the group, Deidara sees them from atop a clay bird. The voice of Nagato rings in his head, telling him to drop the bomb now.
Well, I guess that's my cue.
The youngest Akatsuki member utters before pulling out a C3 clay bomb and letting it fall toward the group, who have no idea it's even coming yet. Jiraiya, still dazed, weaves a bunch of hand signs to summon a toad that would swallow them all into a barrier. The frog appears moments later and quickly gulps down all three shinobi. Mere milliseconds before the explosion, the toad vanishes back into the lands from which it came from. The C3 detonates, completely vaporizing everything within the range of several kilometers and evaporating thousands of cubic meters of water. Once the explosion dies down, Kakuzu and Deidara meet up with the Diva Path at the center of the leftover crater, which is starting to fill up with water.
How's that for an art piece, Those guys stood no chance.
Did they die?
Of course they did. Didn't you see the blast radius? There's no way they could have escaped. Deidara boasts, but the Diva Path looks around uncertain. No, they got away. Moments before the explosion went off, their chakra suddenly vanished. They must have used the reverse summoning jutsu or something along those lines to escape. Pain explains, and Deidara lets out an exasperated sigh, clearly disappointed.
So, what's our next move? Seems the Leaf and the Cloud have an alliance, and they're clearly onto us. They'll probably come back here with a lot more forces the next time around, and we won't have the element of surprise on our side either.
Indeed, this situation is quite unexpected. However, I do not worry about the shinobi attempting to invade this land. We can deal with them. What makes me uneasy is that if there's a direct war between us and the nations, Madara might take advantage of the situation. We have to consider how we go about handling this. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we are leaving the story off right now. Hope you enjoyed. If you did and want to see more videos from me in the future, please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. But with all that being said, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.